satisfied. I think Rolling Stones said it best when they said, I can't get no dun-dun-dun satisfaction. All right? I think I just dated my age when I said that, but I don't really give a shit. I'm really okay. It's really fine. It's kind of funny. But today's episode is Why Your Mind Never Feels Satisfied. I'm Mario Leone. This is the Voices of Victory channel. Don't forget to click on the Podbean link in the description so you can actually visit my page and learn a little bit about what's going on this channel. So the episode of Why Your Mind Never Feels Satisfied. I want to talk about it. A lot of people may not like it. They may not be satisfied with the fact that I'm talking about satisfaction. Because this is what's going on in the back of their mind. It's happening when people say, this still isn't enough. And we live in a comparison culture. Did you really think that comparison culture was somehow not going to impact your own dissatisfaction? Because you are maybe comparing yourself to the rest of the world. This is still not enough, you might say, even when life is fine. Even when you're doing better than you were before, because it's all about actually surpassing where you were yesterday. I get it. You're growing. You're a constant unfolding. But when you hit your goals that you once wanted, and you really wanted it so bad, and now all of a sudden, this still isn't enough. It actually appears, it rears its ugly head again and again. So people bounce around from a few different points of view inside of themselves. I should be grateful. I should have enough. And then, but, it still doesn't feel like it's enough. And guess what? The second one is what most people will actually fall into, that dissatisfaction. It becomes their default way of thinking, their operating system in their head. And let's talk about this. So we call it the hedonic treadmill. Now, if we look at dopamine, we have anhedonia. Hedonic and hedonia, and to be hedonistic, it's all about pleasure. So anhedonia is without pleasure, and the hedonic treadmill is that wonderful little treadmill that people are on because they just want to be satisfied. So they keep chasing dopamine and pleasures in order to have that. But what this really means, the hedonic treadmill, is it just means that when something actually good happens, your mind will start moving things around up there. You get the job, you make more money, somehow life actually improves. And for a period of time, it does feel better. It does feel better until, of course, you somehow look for something wrong. Some people's minds are conditioned to find what's wrong, and they will look for what's wrong. And then your mind takes a shift, totally takes a shift. What was totally wild and exciting becomes boring and mundane, and now you need something new again. You complained about your old job for 5 years, you're now at a new job, and everything is beautiful for 3 weeks, and then you start to find things that are negative about the job, and now the new job sucks. All because you haven't really looked at the bigger picture. Now, there was a study that was actually done. There was a study done back in 1971, Brickman and Campbell, and then it was researched later on. Now, the simple understanding of it all really right here is people start to adapt to good changes faster than they actually expect. So the feeling of this is enough really doesn't connect and become a permanent fixture inside of our mind. So when we look at the overachiever and their little belief, that actually makes it worse. The overachiever belief. And it's one thing to want to achieve. Don't get me wrong. I think it's really crucial to know this. A lot of those high achievers, they carry this belief around and they never stop to question their own patterns. And if they do, they're the ones that change. If I feel content, I'll fall behind. If I feel satisfied, I'll be less than everyone else. There is the big rub, as Shakespeare would say. So any form of contentment is a possible problem and a risk to these people. If you slow down on the inside, you lose progress on the outside. That's what that is. So even when life is somehow getting better, somehow improving, somehow becoming more enjoyable, your mind keeps telling you other things. Don't relax too much. People move ahead of you. Oh, you should be further along because you have to compare yourself to the rest of the damn world. Other people are moving faster, and if you go slow, they're going to beat you. They're going to beat you. This is the obsessive thoughts. And people say, they get something. This still isn't it. This still isn't it. So anything that is relative to satisfaction or contentment is treated like a problem. It's treated like something that's actually dangerous. Something that actually could somehow cost you in some way, cost you your momentum, maybe even cost you your life in some way. But wow, happiness is actually right there. Why isn't it being experienced? Now, I do have a great deal of respect for martial arts. I do have a great deal of respect for the Shaolin monks. Yeah, okay, they don't fight in the octagon, BFD. I don't really care about that. But I am here to talk about how they don't fall into those slippery slopes. They don't fall into it. They don't fall into this hyper overachiever belief, but yet they achieve incredible results. They achieve feats that other people can't. They achieve things that have been conditioned in their body for years. So they don't get trapped. The Shaolin monk doesn't get into that whole pit trap. That's where it gets interesting. Think about the Shaolin monk. On the outside, it looks so intense, the monastic life, right? It looks so intense. The early mornings, the hard trainings, all the repetition, and yes, discipline. They eat discipline for breakfast, if they have breakfast. Discipline every day. They work extremely hard. They support each other as a collective, as a group. But their mind's not chasing the same kind of not enough feeling that most people actually live with, because the goal is very different for them. They're not training to feel like they're finally there, because there is no finally there. The biggest self-made lie is that there's some kind of finish line. I'll be happy when I get to this. I'll be happy when I have a PhD. I'll be happy when I have this. The goal is different. They're not training to be at the finish line, finally there. They are training as a practice, a daily practice, because they understand that every single day they are constantly unfolding and changing. They're growing, changing, and shifting every single day. So their effort doesn't tie to proving their worth and competing with the Joneses and the bullshit comparison culture. It's about actually understanding who they are, not catching up, not beating other people, not that final resting place, that final finish line where they can somehow relax. They're not living in the I'll be okay when. They're living in a place of this is a practice, this is a daily thing. That's why you can have that strong, hard effort and you don't have the internal pressure that's going on inside your skull. So the work keeps going. But the mind doesn't tell them, oh, you're behind. There's a senior monk that's more than you, right? That's what happens when the ego gets out of hand, right? I think there was a song from Brand Nubians that says, don't let it go to your head. Don't let it go to your head. Because the pitfall is the thing that people don't see. It's not about the suffering, right? You know, most people are not suffering because they somehow want too much, although there's people that do, but they're suffering because their mind never lets anything be enough for a long enough time. So it starts to rear its ugly face by saying you have to achieve something, and it'll feel good briefly. Then after that, once you achieve it, it normalizes for a period of time. Your brain says, what next? What now? Or maybe the feeling of this excitement really didn't match the excitement I had in my mind for so long. And then that pressure comes right back. Not because something is wrong. Not at all. It's not because it was wrong, not because it was incorrect, not by any means, but because your mind keeps moving that finish line because it's never happy and never satisfied. It's never content. So contentment actually is valuable. Being contentment is not giving up. Contentment is not losing your ambition or your self-development. Contentment is not stopping your growth. We can understand it as you can want more without feeling where you are right now and thinking that right now is somehow a problem. So you can move forward without having that inner civil war going on inside you, present in your life. So we need to look at things in a different way. Some people will say, how do I get more so I could finally be okay? I need to compete with everyone else and be in that comparison culture. But what about, can I notice when my mind is turning the normal everyday progress into a comparison culture? or feeling of not being enough. Because once you actually see that, once you recognize that, once you understand that, it has less control over you. So I want you to know that if you really think that peace comes from reaching a finish line, you are dead wrong. Dead wrong. Because it's not about reaching the right place in life or the right finish line. But when you actually figure out, when your mind keeps telling you you are behind, even when you're not going to experience much peace in your heart. But if you're able to work on yourself, work on your self-development, and you're content with life, but you're constantly pushing for results, but there's no inner pressure going on, that is the mindset of the Shaolin monk. They're focusing not on the future, not on the finish line. They are in the moment. They are in the process of. They are in the progress. They are in the work. They are a nowist. They're not a futurist. They're not a pastist. They're a nowist. And when you understand that, you can hit all of your plateaus you want, but you don't lose that contentment and satisfaction on the inside. That's all I got to say on this episode. Feel free to click the link below so you can actually visit the Patreon and grow together with me on this channel. Take care.